Today, another bombshell drops in the David case, and I ain't gonna hold you. I leave this dang interview more confused and convinced that yeah, he going to jail, but it ain't just him. Watch how this investigator talks about the video that he obtained, and spoiler warning. A lot of this stuff that was put out there before, it makes sense why certain things weren't discovered before. Let's go.
So it's from the neighborhood. It's right down the street from the house that David was staying in that his manager leased, and it's a video of the Tesla being moved on the 29 July 29th about midday, and it's the same day that they leave. A group of them leave on a tour bus to begin the tour, the first day of the tour on the tour bus going to San Francisco. So the Tesla at that point is actually already in as dirty state as it is in the pictures that we obtained right when it was towed. So it looked like it had been sitting again for a while, and it looks like they just made one last move with it before they set out for this part of the tour.
Now, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. All y'all who be calling me Investigator Nash, y'all might be right. I might gotta eat that title, bro. Because remember in the beginning, in the first video, when I said David was innocent, right? It was all due to the science, right? And the science basically said, yo, if she would have died here, then this would have happened. And then this would have happened. All right, cool. But now we get to talking about when stuff got moved and all of these things. And it's like, bro, hold on. How tight was the vacuum seal on there to conceal the body? So what ended up happening? We find out that body wasn't in there when we think it was in there. The body was actually put in there after they left. Well, before they left. So that's where the timeline, even my timeline kind of matches up, but it doesn't match up for death. It matches up for when they placed the body in there. And I believe there were a couple of people, and it wasn't a lot. It was like, yo, well, what if he put the body in there before he left? And I'm like, well, shoot, the people were saying, and this is where we all just took the freaking neighbors at their word. The neighbors are saying, yeah, that car, it was sitting there for a whole entire, for a month. And I'm like, well, if it was moved for a month, they act like they watched everything. So a lot of these neighbors are, I don't want to say liars, but they're not as good as they think they are. They're not sitting there all day watching a car just sit there like, You might leave, notice the car sitting there, go do something, notice the car sitting there, and before you go to sleep, you might notice the car sitting there. 3 times in one day, you got 24 hours in a day. So there's no freaking way in this world that they could have known. And then the smell part, and I kept saying, bro, a dead body has a insane smell that grips you right here in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? In your esophagus. Bro, the cop couldn't have known either. So I'm telling y'all, bro, like, the tow trucks, bro, where they get to it, how they get to it and all this stuff, bro, they don't want to be held liable for anything. Tow truck companies are one of those companies that even when they wrong, they try to prove how right they were. You know this if you ever been into it with a tow truck company, unless it's ardently blatant. But let's continue on.
Describe that. Everyone at home is saying, well, who is they? Do we know who they is?
That's something that I know who was driving it on that last little move that it made to that parking spot there. But that's something that I'm not going to disclose yet. I think that would be stepping on LAPD's toes, which we don't want to do. We just want to make sure that some of these things are known and that that there's justice in this case, because that statement that LAPD came out with not too long ago was a little concerning. It made it seem like really culpability of concealment of a body might be the extent of the charges.
And this is why you're not a cop, because you just sat up there and said what you just said, but the cops can't just go off theory alone and arrest somebody. We have a theory that David might have did this. No, they need to prove their theory. You don't. Come on, man. This is why I often battle with individuals who make statements like this, because you know exactly what you're doing. Buddy is hyping up his prices right now. Good at his job. But if you were so great, you would have been somebody completely different, bro. So respectfully, nah, the cops can't just go off their theories. They go off of exactly what they're supposed to do. And that's actual proof because they have to prove it in the court of law, not public opinion. Let's go.
So, and I just want to get a clearer picture here. The house where this was would there be a reason for the car to not be at the house? Like, were they abandoning the house and they were never going to return to the house? Do we know anything about information like that?
I don't think that was the plan because they left a lot of stuff behind the house. They did, after this all went down, they moved some of it out, but even then they left a ton behind. So I think it was just, maybe that psychological factor of just a little distance gets it a little, further away from, from the house. I think it was not a permanent solution, obviously, but I think that they did have a plan down the road. I think the towing really upended that plan.
Absolutely. All right, Lauren Conlon. This story, first of all, are you surprised that here we are in October and we still don't have answers in this case?
Yes, I am completely surprised. And if it wasn't for Steve, I guess at this point, and I'm not trying to shade the LAPD. I know they're doing everything they can, but if it wasn't for Steve, I would be even more concerned than I am right now. I constantly refresh the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's website to see if they've determined a cause or manner of death for Celeste. They have not. I've also, done some further digging where, their website says toxicology reports do take 4 to 6 months. I'm sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, is it going to be after Christmas before we start to, finally figure out possibly what happened to this poor girl? And, something just that Steve said to piggyback off that, it is concerning to me that so much stuff was left behind in the house that Steve was collecting, as evidence because he's working for the homeowner. Some of this stuff that Steve and I have talked about offline, it's weird. I'm sorry. It's just strange that the LAPD didn't take this stuff with them when they had their search warrant. And I guess it's kind of like, let's just look at this from the outside again. David, not a suspect, not a person of interest, but he canceled all of his tours. That's a lot of money. He hasn't been seen, right, since he returned home to LA. I mean, that doesn't make sense. If you're not a person of interest at this point, what are you hiding from?
So what did the cops see that you didn't? See, these people that say certain things, they don't know what they're talking about. They only give the grandized version like, oh man, we seen that her shoes or her clothes was left here and all of this stuff. So it had to be something. The dude said he found stuff that he felt was relevant and all of these things. The cops were there for a whole entire day, which means that they left certain things because they either had enough of what they needed to, or they took pictures and it's already in inventory. Or here's the crazy part. It might not actually be as important as you believe it to be. And David didn't cancel his tour. Crazy lady. He didn't cancel his tour. The label did. The label canceled his tour. The label pushed his damn CD back. Or the release back. The label did this. Not him. So when you're saying these things, y'all actively, blatantly lie. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. When she's saying, oh, well, the investigator, what he told me off camera. You don't think that he don't know that going on these big old YouTube platforms that he's raising his price, that he's about to get more work done? Come on, bruh. Like, eventually people do have to look at it and go, are certain people in it for the money? And I'm not saying that the investigator doesn't have good stuff and we shouldn't believe him. I'm not saying that at all. But for you to sit up here and basically say they didn't do a good job when you don't know what the hell they have, that's too premature. See, if she would have said, I know what the police have, I know what he has, I know what was left, and they didn't do a good job, that's perfectly fine. No issue. But you don't know shit about what the cops got. So, bro, this, at a certain point in time, I believe David has something to do with her death. Me, personally, I do. But now I'm starting to lean more that either if he didn't, his people did, and they didn't tell him, or they all had something to do with it, and that's exactly what it is. But let's go.
I want to put up on the screen a a sketch of a timeline here of some of the things that we know. And as Steve pointed out, July 29th, the last time that David's Tesla was moved before being parked on a nearby Bluebird Avenue. August 27th, a parking enforcement officer marked the Tesla, noting the position of its tires. September 3rd, the officer issues a citation to the Tesla for violating the 72-hour parking ordinance. September 5th, the Tesla is impounded and towed to the Hollywood tow yard. September 8th, the body of Celeste Reavis Hernandez is found, in the front trunk after an employee reports a suspicious smell to police. And September 18th, Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying is searched. And I just want to show everyone a map so they kind of get an idea here. As Steve described, the home is on the 1300 block of North Dehaney, and the Tesla's found within walking distance of there. So you could drop it off and just walk back, and it's no big deal. Let me ask you, Steve, is there any indication of what is the last known proof of life of Celeste?
So the last that I have, and I don't know, what LAPD has, but there was some media left behind at the house, and there's photos from a camera that David was using, and the last photo of Celeste is January 2nd of 2025.
Wow. Now, without revealing what you found, right, because some things you may not be able to reveal, in what you went through in the house, did you find any evidence of criminal behavior?
So, it's not a crime to think about doing certain things, but we found some things that had been delivered to the house that just don't belong there, or don't belong in any type of environment like that. And they are things that you could use to get rid of a person if you wanted to. And they're really, people say, oh, it's got to be tools and stuff. It's beyond that. It's really sadistic stuff. Now, LAPD didn't take it, but they have told us that they photographed it. But again, that's not a crime, just ordering these things,
Right.
But I think it does, show that there was some intent, and
Yeah, well, right, it's not illegal to have, but if you're putting together a case and it ends up being a homicide case and these things are
Right.
around, that's a piece of the puzzle, the building blocks of any prosecutor's case. Lauren, how would you describe David? If someone has no idea who this guy is, who he is, how he got famous, what he's known for, and what he's like?
Yeah, I mean, David is your typical internet kid. He describes himself that way. He grew up with the internet. He's a gamer. He was a TikTok star. That's essentially how he was discovered as this singer. He went viral, and he has millions of followers on every platform. A huge following on Discord, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. His life is online. And Vinny, just to add a couple things to the dates that you mentioned before, you said September 18th, that's when the home was searched, the Hollywood Hills home. Well, also around the 17th and 18th, I'm not exactly positive which day it was. I don't want to be called out, but that was also the day that Celeste Reavis Hernandez's body was identified as Celeste. And also that was the day, or around the day, that David transferred his Houston homes in Texas in his mother's name. And, I kind of smile a little bit, and I didn't really mean to, when you asked Steve, about the evidence he found in the home, because I know that Steve wishes he could share it all with us, but clearly he's being incredibly responsible right now, and he's not trying to step on the LAPD's toes. But it's concerning.
So now it gets revealed. I'm glad they finally admitted it. Bruh, you think you know things, and the police already know these things. I think the police are letting us know this is an active investigation, because it's not just David who's going down. I'm telling you right now, I damn near can guarantee it. I'm not going to bet anything, because y'all know I don't gamble. But if I was a betting man, I'm going to be willing to bet, bruh, it ain't just David who's going to be arrested. Bruh, this looks like, I ain't going to say the word Rico, but it's going to look as close to a Rico as you can get. There's going to be multiple arrests based off what they're saying. Bruh, there's no way then. If everything that the lady said is true, and I'll take her at her word, and I'll take the investigator at his word, bruh, I know a whole lot of things, and I'm going to be honest. It's all the way over with. So I think what they're doing is they're waiting for that toxicology report to come out, which will come out in goddamn December or the end of November, around Thanksgiving. And when that toxicology report comes out, expect David to be arrested by either December or January with a slew of friends. That's what it's seeming like from everything that they revealed to us today. Now, let's go further.
Family, Lauren, what are they saying now? Are they speaking out? Are they frustrated? Are they angry? Or are they just waiting?
So it's interesting, Benny, because I have been kind of refreshing their Facebook profiles, the family members that I found. I believe initially when Celeste went missing for the first time back in February of 2024, it was her aunt that posted that she was missing, and her mom had commented on it. And I haven't seen any posts from them that are public since. I did get her brother's number. I actually texted him at one point. I did not get a response there. So I really have no idea. I also think that, there is a language barrier with her mother. At least I know that her mother for sure does not speak English very well. So I think that, that also might be an issue as to why she's not speaking out. But yeah, pretty much silence from her family.
Now, Steve, getting back to your video, and you've provided it to LAPD, correct?
Yeah.
Right, so they have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from that video, you're able to tell who's driving the car, and you use the term they, so there's more than one person involved in all of this, and obviously none of them or all of them could be involved with what happened to Celeste. We don't know. But are they identifiable from the video?
Yeah, and to be clear, so there's one person driving the car. When I say they, it's because there's images from right before and then after the time frame the car was moved that same day of people at the home and then on the tour bus. So when I say they, I know that they were in a group, but there was only one person that moved the car, and that person is identifiable for sure.
And is LAPD, my guess is they would have wanted to have spoken to all these people. Do we know if they have given statements? Do we know if LAPD has spoken to David and anyone else who may have been in and around the home at that time?
Well, I know that, before she was identified, there was a statement from David's camp saying that he did plan on talking to LAPD when he came back in town because he had a show at the Greek Theater in LA, which was canceled. I hope they've talked to these people, but they're not telling us that. We have not gotten. We've been trying to get a copy of the search warrant with the probable cause affidavit because the owner's entitled to that since David wasn't on the lease. We haven't gotten that yet, and that's not something we could disclose anyways. But I would hope that they're talking to. There was a core group of people that were around a lot and all the time. And I'll tell you what, Celeste is not one of those people that it's in this house in these photos. There's people are showing some. Photos of an old house from before, but there was another place that appears to be in East Hollywood or downtown that I believe she was staying at, more like an apartment. And so I think that hopefully they get to the bottom of that and figure out, because I think she was living with somebody as well too. She was not at this house 24/7.
And how far back do the videos go? I mean, are there videos before that date on July 29th, and do they reveal anything?
They go from December of 24 up until I forget the exact date, but it's about I think it's like April or May that they go to.
All right, Steve Fisher.
So go ahead. There is 24. Yeah, she does appear on some images in December 24 as well, but the last one is January 25.
Now, unless I'm tripping and somebody found something about some downtown apartment, which I think I did see in the comments before. So if you're that person who said that, you'd be like, yeah, Nash, that was actually me. He didn't say that David stayed in that apartment. Didn't say it was leased to David in the apartment. None of that stuff. So there's that. Because if you're going to say, well, no, because he can't. Well, they've been revealing that David on that car. The lady even said, hey, bro, in July, David had transferred his doggone family's, his stuff to his grandma, to his mom. His houses to his mom. So David gave his houses to his mom. You found that out. Y'all found out the Tesla belonged to David. But y'all ain't revealed that apartment she was staying in belonged to David. Y'all also found out that David actually wasn't on a lease. Okay. The family doesn't speak English. And they ain't really finna trust the LAPD because, let's be fair, it's the LAPD. Nobody really trusts the police any goddamn ways. So there's that part. But here's the more interesting part. And I need everybody to walk away saying this right here. If y'all knew, meaning the investigator, that there were other people driving the car, multiple people driving the car, why do you think they haven't been arrested? That's enough probable cause for concealment of the body, right? So are we saying that they didn't know? Are we saying that these individuals did not know? Are we running with that theory? I'm just curious. Are we running with the theory to say that David and his people, his individuals, his folks, David crew, knew or didn't know? It just goes on to have me believe that David will be arrested and a slew of his crew will be arrested. I'm thinking to myself, no, including David, no less than 4. So David and 3 other individuals. This stuff gets real wicked. It gets real interesting, don't it? I thought we wouldn't have another doggone update, but apparently we do. We do. We'll see what happens, man. Click right here and find out how NBA YoungBoy possibly is about to get sued by New Orleans, because that article that came out that said the chief wanted him gone, well, there's a whole lot of truth to it. It's about 90% accurate from what we originally talked about and reported on, but there's more to it. Click right here, click right here, click right here, or click right here to get through your day, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Subscribe, turn on bell to notify, comment, like, win one of these for free at 300,000 subs. I'll catch y'all on the next one.